to create a lightbox. As you can see on the screen, there is a image. When I click on the image, you will see the lightbox get appear. The lightbox has an image followed by the caption and then closable button. When I click on it, it gets closed. Not only when you click on X button it gets closed, whereas if you click other than X, let's for example this one, the grayish color, it gets closed. If I click on image, it won't close. If I click on paragraph, it is not going to close. It will only close when you click on X and when you click on the grayish color background. If you want the description or if you want the source code, you will get the source code in the description. Fine, let me show you how the HTML works. First of all, we have a image. This image is simply the image with what you see on the screen, and we have a container which is the BG. This BG is because as when I click on it, the color grayish comes up. This is because of the BG, and this BG holds the model, the actual model. This is also a container. Inside the model class we have an image with the ID model image and the span X, which is closable button, and finally the next and the last, which is the caption, which has the ID caption as well. Fine. Now let me remove all the CSS and start from scratch, so that JavaScript as well, and so that you can understand how did I do it. Refresh it. 2 images and a span tag of X and a paragraph. Fine. Now let me comment the model for just time convenience. Now let's style the image, which is the my img, which has the ID. I want it to place it on the center. For that, position absolute, top of 50%, left of 50%, transform, translate 50% on x-axis and 50% on y-axis. Now let me give the height and width to it. The height be let me make it square. 150 would be too small. 200 pixel height and width be 200 pixel. There seems to be a command mistake, and yes, that's completed. Now once you have used, you have to check for the mistake. I think I have did it over here. Now it will appear on the center. If you want, you can decrease the height and width. Let the width be 150 and let the height be 150. Once this is done, we want to make this as a link. For that, cursor colon pointer, and yes, if you want, you can add box shadow as well. 1 pixel left and right, 1 pixel top and bottom, 1 pixel blur, and the color black. If you want the blurriness to increase, let it be 10, and yes, you got it. Now in order to, you can change the color of the body, background as yellow, and yes, that's done. Now let me comment this one and start with the model designing. The first thing is BG. I want a screen which is full of black color. For that, choose the div BG, background black, width would be 100%, height would be 100%. This is not the right way. Instead, what you have to do is you have to use some background color in the RGB format. RGBA 0.8 is the opacity, and then you have to remove the margin and padding of the default browser setting. Padding colon 0 pixel and margin 0 pixel, and then once this is done, you have to use the position fixed for the screen, background screen. Top of 0 pixel, left of 0 pixel. Now it's time for the image inside the model. Before that, I would like to place the model in the center of the screen. So choose the container of the model and position it on the center. Position absolute 50% of top. On left it should be 50%. Transform translate 50% on x-axis, and 50% on y-axis. Now it's on the center. You have to give the width to it as 60%. Now it's time for the image size. The image size would be, first you have to choose the image. I have specified it on the ID model img. Choose the image and give the height as 300 pixel and width as 300 pixel. If you think it is too much, you can anytime reduce it to 250 pixel width and 250 pixel height. And now it is on the screen. Now it is on the center. It is not on the center. If you want it on the center, you have to again use the same position absolute for the image as well. And yes, the image is at the center. Now you have to choose the caption. We have to make the position from the bottom, position fixed bottom of 0 pixel. Change the color as white. If you want, you can add the text shadow. 1 pixel left and right, 1 pixel top and bottom, 1 pixels spread, and the color black. Just position it appropriately. .120 would be right. 130, not 140 is also a good option. Now what you have to do is you have to use the X and place it on the top right corner. So the X has a class close. Again we have to use the position. Once the position is set, you have to give the top of 10 pixel. Let's check how does it looks. You have to check whether it is the close. Yes, it is the ID of close. close is not getting the class. Let me check what it is. It was because of the bracket. I have used round bracket instead of curly bracket. So choose the top, let's say it is 10 pixel. Let's see how does it looks. Simply I have used the color red. Now you can change it to 20% from the top. It taken 2 above. If you want, you can use 150. 150 would be the appropriate one. Now it's time for the right of 100 pixel. Let's check how does it looks. 150 would be appropriate again, I guess. Let me make it 70, 50. And that's okay. Now you have to increase the size, font size simply. Font size as 30 pixel, 40. Too much, 30, and remove the font family as sans serif, and again the cursor colon pointer, and that seems okay. When I click on it, it should get disappear. That's all with the CSS. Now we have to get into the script. In order for the script to understand, you need 3 things. The first one is the ID of the image. We got the ID of the image. The second one is, if we take the ID of the image and paste it on the script, the second one is the BG, ID BG, and the third one is the class, the ID close. So when I click on it, it should get close. You have to place it in the variable document dot get element by ID. Make the my image over here, the BG, and finally the span. The close word is a reserved keyword, you cannot use. Instead you use the word span. So when I click on the image, so by default I make the BG as display none. Now it's display none. Now you cannot see. I have to uncomment the image. Yeah. Now when I click on the image, on click equal to, the BG should get the style of display none, block. When I click it, it gets display block. Again the same way, when I click on the span, I want it to get display none. When I click on it, it gets down. Now when I click other than the X, it should also get closed. For that, window dot on click function, if e dot target equal to BG, and this E would be coming from the parenthesis. Then you should close the div bg. Fine, it shows up. When I click it, it gets disappeared. So as said, when I click on the image, it should show up. When I click on the X, it should get disappear, and other than X, when I click on image, it should not go. When I click on paragraph, it should not go, and when I click other than the image and paragraph, and then the other than the X, it should get disappear. And that's what the Lightbox is done. Thank you so much for listening.